Good afternoon all. Right, Jacob Rees-Mogg has just spectacularly blown two Brexit arguments with one sweet quote. So here's the quote. I actually wrote it down word for word, and he was talking about this transition period which is going to be arranged, under which we're obeying EU laws for 2 years in order to have enough time to get things fixed, but we don't have a say in those laws at the time. And this is what Jacob Rees-Mogg said. We would take, for the first time since 1066, laws imposed on us by a foreign power without having any say over it ourselves. And that is awesome, because that is straight up an admission that this whole rhetoric that we had been in the EU, where the EU was a dictator and we weren't controlling our own laws and we should leave to take control over our own laws because the EU is a dictator, that blows that out of the water, because he's just said for centuries, and he's absolutely right, that for centuries we have been making either our own laws by ourselves, or we've been making them in collaborations with other countries, such as the framework of the EU, where we all agree on common laws for our country, or actually through some other international treaties as well, when we agree on common frameworks. But every single law in this land that has passed, our government, our own country has had a say in it. We have maintained that sovereignty right throughout. And here is the Brexiteers champion, Jacob Rees-Mogg, absolutely confirming that, because he and others have known this all the way through. So much as they've been peddling take back control of our laws and the EU is a dictator and we need freedom, nevertheless they've known full well that every single law in this land is made either on the national level or by international agreement, but Brits have had a say in each and every one of them. Right, that's argument number one. Thank you, Jacob. Argument number two is, well, if this situation vexes Jacob Rees-Mogg so much that we're going to have 2 years now of obeying EU rules but having no say in them, and yet, of course, we need these 2 years in order to sort out the dozens of frameworks, then why are we having this transition period after exiting rather than extending our EU membership for another 2 years? In which case we'd have exactly the same amount of time in order to sort things out. We would preserve all of our frameworks with third countries around the world during that time, and we would also have a say in the Parliament and Council over all of these laws. Why isn't he arguing for that? Because you see, all of this, we have to leave on March 29th, 2019. We have to write it in as a law. We have to tattoo this date on our eyeballs. That argument has now been blown because we need this 2-year transition period in order to sort things out. So why not stay within the EU and keep power within that time? Now, clearly, Jacob Rees-Mogg objects to potentially laws being passed during those 2 years that we don't get a say on, because maybe those laws will cover things such as, I don't know, tax avoidance. And if you look up Jacob Rees-Mogg on Wikipedia, you will see where he keeps a proportion of his money. So it is an interesting pickle that he has got himself into with this, or we've got ourselves into as a country, because you can't now pull us out of the whole shebang, because that would be breaking phase one, and that's thoroughly legally irresponsible. But now we've decided that we have to leave on this date, and so we have to have this transition period in which we have no say. Again, given this quote, within the EU we have full say on all the laws that pass through us, so why not stay in the EU for another 2 years at least in order to sort this out? There we go, that's the solution. Thank you, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Sorted.